Well, we're on our way on our first mini book tour, which is only 3 stops. And we couldn't take the truck because I can't sit in it properly and feel comfortable for all the traveling. So we had to borrow my mother's car, which is absolutely loaded. And remember, this is just for 2 markets and an all-day appearance at the horse trials. Here's the back seat where I'll be sitting. Here's the front seat with some riding gear from days of old, all the books packed. My husband barely has room to sit in the driver's seat. And of course now, he's busy picking up apples because he wants to stay completely out of the way. Which is probably what he got because I shouted, get out of the way. Here comes the cat, who's going to be very upset that we're leaving when he finds out he's not going to have company for almost 4 full days. Except my mother to come downstairs once in a while to feed him. Alright, we've just set out 5 minutes ago from the farm. Here it is, the inside of the car, packed to the hilt. Even the back window, so poor Richard can't even see out the back. By the way, for those of you that are wondering why an ironing board is in the car, I usually do take an ironing board with me when I have a market for my books, because it is a good way of having a folding table that you can put a few little displays out and some books out on without taking along a great big table. So I usually just have a card table and the ironing board. Here we come to the fabulous Brooks Bridge, so I'll give you a little view of the Elastic River, which the white people have decided to call the St. John River, but it's now going back to being called the Elastic.
Well, there's the bridge, and there's the axe over there.
The big axe. The biggest axe in the entire world.
Yep,
in Nakawik, New Brunswick. Outside of which is set the village of Victoria, New Brunswick. There it is, folks. The big axe. This has nothing to do with murder mysteries, by the way. It's not a weapon. It is just a way of celebrating the mill towns and the lumberjacks of the area. And here we are, set up at the Nakawik Market on a Thursday evening with storm clouds in the distance. And there's about 15 vendors here all under this veranda outside on the sidewalk by the storefronts. Helping to raise money and awareness for our local SPCA, overloaded right now with over 40 cats and kittens. So that's our first one, our first little New Brunswick book tour finished. We just left Nakawik with the big axe, and I sat there for 3 hours, mostly speaking to another author who's a doctor who helped me with the first book, Just a Still Life, because that's set entirely there in that Nakawik area. And that's Dr. Mary Ann Bramstrup, and she was very kind and kept me company for a couple of hours. Well, the usual amount of people walked back and forth and But I did sell to the person that runs the market. I sold a book. Sold 2 to Marianne Bramstrup. And then, surprisingly, a woman who came up and said she self-publishes and was very busy right now writing her memoirs. P.S. She's like 45. She said that she would buy 2 books. So I was really pleasantly surprised at that lady. Because usually, you know, you're at these things and you get told always ad nauseum, oh, I'm an author, oh, I'm an author, oh, I'm an author too. But this time she actually surprised me by buying 1 of each book. So that was really nice. And Richard, what was your experience there while you waited for 3 hours for me?
I had a little bit of gas. But other than that, Marianne helped me relieve that by
playing kung fu and doing some jiu-jitsu?
No, by grabbing my hand and walking me to the washroom.
So that was, so doctors are always helpful, even if it's just showing you where the bathroom is.
Yeah, and I felt better after that, I must say. But
and what else did you do?
Oh, I had a little snooze.
That's good.
And I was reading from the book that I'm currently in.
6:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, August the 19th. There's the first ambulance, and not the last ambulance we'll see today, because we are on the way to the horse trials. There it is. And you always have a couple of ambulances on the property because, of course, eventing is, I think, still the 4th most dangerous sport in the world. We are planning to be there all day. It's 6:30. Of course, this is the 7th week of just pure rain or fog every single day. They were calling for nice, bright, sunny afternoon, but now they're not even calling for that anymore. And Richard's getting gas and getting filled up as we get ready to leave his brother's house where we spent most of yesterday visiting his family. And because there isn't going to be a concession at this event, just a barbecue, we're going in for some supplies to the convenience store. I put my booth near the warm-up ring for the dressage. It was great to see so many duns there to help join the Whodunnit Club. We're raising money for therapeutic riding, this time for SARI, Special Ability Riding Institute. So my booth was basically on the verge of the dressage warm-up and sort of on the end of the car parking lot. So there's my booth, and Richard made this dummy for me so that it would help attract attention as people went by. How can you relate to the dummy?
Because I am a dummy. I'm a dummy. Okay?
So it's nothing to do with the really baggy legs she had and the fact that her bottom didn't help her stay on the seat.
Yeah, no, that part was difficult.
And at this point, the skies were pretty overcast and there wasn't much wind. That was to change later, but you can see by the way the flags are going, there's not a lot of wind at this point, just constantly threatening that it was going to thunder as they were calling for. A little bit of wind picking up. It took us about an hour and a half to get the whole set up going. Just having a look at some of the displays that I tried to make more horse related. Whenever I go to a specific event that's got, you know, a theme. This was obviously horses. 2 weeks ago we had antique cars on our farm, and I was selling books there and pushing the whole car aspect that's in my books. And of course, talking again about the Victoria County SPCA. Victoria County, Victoria is the village that I set my novels in, or at least where PJ lives in them. The novels are actually set all around Canada in different provinces, but we always go back to PJ in Victoria, New Brunswick. So I I tend to put out a magnifying glass and a handcuffs. And you can hear that people were pretty excited to be catching up. Horses were whinnying at each other. The cross country, of course, is what people get most excited about, and I have a short story coming out about that, set in Scotland very soon. So I had made these bookmarks up to hand out to those, which Richard helped me hand out at the ringside. And we also talked quite a bit with some people about the film, about Kim Walton's life. Some things out about some of the characters who ride in Just a Stalemate, the latest whodunnit. And then the sun came out, and even though the wind picked up and blew a lot of my tent around, it was a pretty great day to end off with the stadium jumping. On the last day, on the way home, we stopped for a little bit at one store just outside of Fredericton in Oromocto, another Indigenous name, and that is Dog-Eared Books. And Richard was looking a little dog-eared himself there, but he took the books into the store for me because I had sold one previously. So he's now left a set of Just a Still Life and Just a Stalemate there at Dog-Eared Books in Oromocto, just south of Fredericton, the capital of New Brunswick. And then we headed home. And so now it's nice to be home. Follow the tracks, and we're home.